Hi, this is Hannah, and welcome to the Grounded Life podcast. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Kat Byles, who is a business and creativity consultant. Her company, True Business, focuses on leading with a creative spirit, which honors your heart. This is for people who care and want to do business differently. So, hi, Kat, welcome.
Hi, Hannah. It's so nice to be with you. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for taking the time to come and have this conversation. And before we start, is there anything you'd like to add to that introduction about yourself, about what's important for people to know about you before we start?
Yeah, I think what's important for me, important to share, is a little bit about the journey that I've been on from burnout and anxiety and stress and sort of general ill health, sickness in traditional business, and then finding a way of being in business that's natural to me and that really allows me to flourish, and that, you know, puts wellness and creativity and your true nature right at the heart. So that journey that I went on around from burnout into discovering my true purpose and living from my true nature in business is one that has been regenerative, healing, nourishing, deeply fulfilling, substantial, and those are all words that I would never have associated with business. and now the invitation is to, you know, to people who want to do business differently, and it tends to appeal to sort of teachers, trailblazers, healers, pioneers, creatives, people who want their creative spirit to be right at the heart of their business, and their business to be an expression of their true nature and purpose, and to really find their natural way of being in business, so that it's so natural to you, it doesn't feel like work, it feels like you're being and doing exactly what you came for. And that's when we feel peaceful and calm and content and powerful as well. Powerful creative beings, which is what we are, and we're making choices as to what we're creating and bringing into the world that's in harmony with our inner world and in harmony with the universal energy, with nature as well. So yeah, it's like my whole body just goes, oh, every time I say that, because I still have a bit of a habit of, you know, going into the very masculine, male dominating action, let's do, even being in Antigua, which is very much a culture of going with the flow. And I'm sitting looking at the sea now, which is very calming, and it puts you into that, you know, beautiful space of serenity. I still have a tendency to go into that achievement and doing space. So that's my constant practice.
Yeah, that kind of feels hardwired into us. And when I hear you saying all of that, I feel just inspired straight away of like, oh, that sounds amazing. But it does sound apart from the way that I view business and succeeding as well in business. So in your experience, what do you see, what do you hear, what do you feel that really blocks us from expressing our vision and leading with our creative spirit? Why are so many of us not walking and working in our heart soul?
Oh goodness, I think there's so many reasons. I mean, I think first of all, it's not something that our generation was taught to do. It's something that, you know, maybe you stumbled upon. You know, I felt I had a calling in me, and that I needed to listen to, and you know, many of us have that, and so dedicating the time to listen to that. But society isn't set up for you to fulfill your true nature and purpose, and to listen to that wisdom. You're not taught how to listen to your heart and to trust your heart. You know, you go to experts or authorities or, you know, external places for that. And so that's the first thing. We're just not taught to do that. And then when you start listening to your heart, and, you know, it's directing you in ways that might seem, you know, unusual or frightening, or you doubt, you're like, really, is this true? Have I heard this right? Am I, you know, there's that, you have to then learn to listen and to trust and to take the action no matter what. And so once you start to get into that groove of listening to your inner wisdom and following that inner wisdom, then you'll have your own external triggers. So I'm doing a lot of work at the moment around my relationship with money, and my past beliefs of money, and my past stories of money, how that restricts that flow of inspiration. And when we, and letting go of all of those things, our limiting beliefs, our old stories that were perhaps made up when we were 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever, so that we can create, with that our hearts are so expansive. The energy of life is expansive. If you think the universe is always expanding, and if that energy is coming through you, you're forever invited to expand and grow as well. And yet our ego or our limiting beliefs are keeping us into a space, that was formed when we were 7, 8, 9 sometimes. So there's our ego can be doing it. Big society structures can keep us from our heart. But I find that once you connect with it and you make it your practice and you make that your the way of being in life, then it becomes much easier. But there was for me an initial learning, a deconstruction of the way that we are taught, and then a learning to listen to my own inner being, my own inner wisdom. I wish I'd been taught that from being a kid, but hey. I'm really grateful to have that connection now, because it's only since I've been listening to my own inner wisdom, my own heart, and that used to be, no one in business listens to their heart's wisdom. It's kind of thrown away as oh, that's woo woo, or you're a bit wacko, and your heart's wisdom is so powerful and effective and compassionate and all encompassing of life
and intelligent,
and
I imagine.
Oh, it's so intelligent. It's so much more intelligent. And so that's where for me the work is or my focus is now is inviting people to explore their heart's wisdom and their heart's intelligence, and to listen to that and to bring that into business, because for me that's what will make the difference. I remember being with my nephew when he was tiny, about 2 or 3, and we were at an event, and they were taking us on a little imagination journey, and the lady said, now point to your brain, and he pointed to his heart, and I was like, oh, yes. I love that. He's so wise already. He's 2 and he knows where his brain is. So that's the invitation, is to make your heart's wisdom your focus in business, because that opens up a whole new world of possibility that's full of wellness, nourishment, regeneration for you and the planet. And that's my gospel right now, I think, for now and forevermore. And it brought me out of burnout. Listening to my heart's wisdom brought me to Antigua, I thought, for a holiday. And then when I was swimming in the sea here, I heard clearly the words, you're not done. You need to come back and float in this sea every day for a month. And so I did that. I it was hard to do that, because I'm like, really? Come back for a month? That's extra money and time. What people are going to think? My family were like, what is she doing? But I came for a month, walked barefoot on the sand, swam in the sea, ate mangoes from the tree, and I really came back into harmony with nature and the rhythm of nature, the sunset, the sunrise. And that brought me back into connection with my own inner nature and my own inner cycles. And that's where I think that we flourish, when we're in harmony with our true nature, in harmony with nature. We are nature.
We are nature. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So you mentioned this really strong topic about money, which I really want to come on to in a moment. But before we do, because I know that everyone, 99% of the population will be interested to learn more about that, including myself. When you talk about listening to your intuition, listening to your heart's wisdom, so I've actually got two kind of like questions here, because one of them is, well, how do you support people in activating their vision? What does the journey look like? But as you were speaking then, what also came was, learning to listen to your heart must come in a variety of ways for a variety of people. I've worked with you before, and I know that you can hear quite clearly, almost like an audible. It sounds like when
sometimes.
you express. And that's not always been my experience when I've done the meditations. Maybe mine's more of a feeling, maybe more of a, so sometimes there's, for me, there's a little bit of interpretation of like, oh, what do I think that actually meant? And so I guess the first question was, what does listening to your heart like actually look like? And then the second question is, how do you support people in activating their vision, and what does that journey look like?
Yeah, great questions. I mean, it looks different for everybody, right? So when I hear my heart's wisdom very clearly in nature. When I'm swimming in the sea, I get inspirational downloads. When I'm walking in the woods, near my parents, it's an ancient woodland, I might go with a question and just hold that question, and then I just walk and walk, take in the beauty and the surroundings, and then it will arrive. So for me, beauty, natural beauty, is a vibration of that I really respond to be able to hear my heart clearer. Other people have completely different ways to listen to their heart, so and to connect with that energy of inspiration and so on. Katie Sarah, who you probably know, she's she does so many things. She's an artist and a sexological body worker and a teacher. And she paints, and every time she paints, she literally unleashes that energy of life and her heart's wisdom, and she knows exactly what to do. Then she's in it, she's in the energy, and she can sense and feel. Other people journal, and they write, and they ask for that wisdom to come through and journal. Some people, my partner windsurfs. And, whenever he comes back from a windsurf, you can see he's let go of any tensions, and, and he comes back out, he's revitalized, he's tapped back into his, his true nature. And so there are many, many ways that you can tap into your heart and into that energy that's all around us and that creates the moon, the stars, you and me, right? So finding your way to do that. My preference is nature, writing, and movement. Some people like to move their body. Having a good shake gets you out of your head and into your wisdom. Breath work, amazing. So there's so many different tools that we can use. The other tools I love to use is the I Ching. That was one of my first journeys into my heart's wisdom and to the creative source that runs through us all. And, when I was in my late teens, I discovered the I Ching, like other divination tools like tarot, whatever works for you.
Explain what the I Ching is. I don't know.
Oh, I love it. So it's about the Tao, which is the creative force, source, energy of life, whatever you want to call it. And it's about creating in harmony with that. And you take 3 coins and you shake them and you add up your heads and tails into, and then you get lines. And these lines, there's 6 lines, will give you the information that you need in that moment to be in harmony with the creative. And it's super powerful, just because the vibration of it, the writing of it is pure. It's not religious in any way. It's very much about you being in harmony with your true nature, with source. So that's another tool. There's so many different tools. And then, like you say, your experience then when you do connect with your heart might be very different. So some people I hear sometimes very clear messages and it's literally direction. I love it when I get those because it's indisputable. It's very clear and direct. Some people experience like a feeling tone, a sensation, emotion. And, I'm super sensory as well. So I get a very strong sense of, yes or no, and what's unfolding and the vibration, the feeling of something, and whether that's true or not. Some people will get very strong visions, like visually will experience things or symbols, and it's really just about finding your way. But you can develop those things. So I didn't have a very strong I had a tendency towards being able to visualize. And when I don't mean visualize as in seeing yourself wandering around, I mean in a vision, I mean actually receiving from source, from your imagination, rather than active visualization. They call it visioning. And I developed that, right? So you can develop these skills. You don't, and the more you practice them, the stronger they get. Like anything, it's just like a muscle. And then you begin to be able to distinguish, that's not my heart. That's my saboteur or whatever. Your heart feels very clear, calm, direct, and embodied, actually. And so, it's just, it's just a skill that you learn, really, and develop. Everyone has access to it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, really well, thank you. And then I like that you brought in the identification of the self-saboteurs. So, it's actually, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I think as what my experience is definitely with breath work is when you're connecting with your heart, your intuition, your wisdom, your essence, your connection with essence, the difference.
You do. It feels very, very different.
That holds you back in life. And so would I be right in saying, so I'm going to do this amazing work with you and I'm going to feel so inspired because I'm like, I think I know what I want to do. I want to work with children, or I want to, create or something. And then that kind of like that uncomfortable, like, how the hell do I get that into the world, into a returning an investment to allow me to pay for my rent and, my dog, or, whatever. So do you act as a kind of bridge here? And, can you say anything about that kind of transition, especially if it's a transition from something that someone already does and then they have a real calling that they should be something totally different?
Oh, that's a huge step and a really powerful place to be in, because like you say, so you have a mortgage to pay, a house, a family to feed, and all of those things that can keep you in that space. The one thing I would say is if you do have that calling, then just really listen to it and trust it. And I have seen that when people follow that, you can go at your own pace, and it does unfold naturally for you to move. It emerges at a pace that is good for you and that feels good for you. So you can trust that. But what I work with the True Business model, which came to me on a beautiful swim. And so it feels like a divine gift. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I've been doing. Thank you for sharing it so articulately. And where you connect to source, and then you receive your true business blueprint. So you receive your essence, and that's the energy that you pour through everything that naturally serves. You receive your purpose, your why. Why are you here? What are you here for, right? So that purpose then becomes clear. Like, my purpose is to really connect to your heart's wisdom, so that your true nature can come out of you, and who you are and your creative expression and your true business comes out of you, right? That's my true purpose, for example. You get clear on that. Then you become clear on who you're truly here to serve, your audience. And that's life-changing for some people, because I always share the example. I mean, there's a couple, it just opens up the inspiration. So Steph Magenta, who's a breath worker, she was only working with women, and went in her heart invited her to start working with men. And that was initially like, whoa, that's when the fear comes in, or like your assumptions come in, or like, whoa, and that caused it to feel uncomfortable. But choosing to go with that opened up a whole new pathway for Steph, where she's now really flourishing in her true business, and showing up every Saturday with such dedication, and serving men and women and anyone who wants to work with the breath. And she has her trainings always full, and so on. So that letting go of those limitations of only women and opening up to the deeper truth opened up that flow and that alignment with source for her. So who are you here to work with? And then your heart's offering, and that's what creates your business, right? This is your signature dish, product, service, And when it comes from your heart, it offers the highest value to your audience and to you and to the world. And it creates you as well. As you create this offering, you become more, a stronger, it's healing for you. You become more aware, more embracing of life and everything you need as you create it. And so, and of course, then you start to receive money from expressing your true purpose in the world and sharing your heart's offering, and many other things beside money, right? You experience great, deep, wonderful relationships, community, all your other needs are met by that as well. And so that creates prosperity, and then prosperity being all your needs being met, your financial needs, creative, emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever, are met by your true business and expressing your true nature in the world. You don't have to go and do a 9-to-5 job over there and then have just meet your needs on a weekend. If you think about that, actually, that's so inhumane and abusive. You have to sacrifice your whole being over here for 5 days while you go and work for someone else and their vision, and then you have 2 days to be who you really are on this planet. It's obscene. And so that's that. Using this true business model allows you to connect with your purpose, who you're here to serve, your heart's offering for those people, and then enjoy the prosperity that comes from that, with a financial structure that allows you to thrive. And because, I mean, we can talk more about money in a little, if you like, but that having that structure for your inspiration to flow into is really powerful. So you have both like the masculine and the feminine energies working together, and then you're balanced, then you're being in service, you're fulfilling your purpose, your heart's wisdom is the creative engine of your business, and you're in harmony, with nature. And it's a pleasure. It becomes a pleasurable experience. Imagine that, your business feeling pleasurable, and and your sensuality is expressed through your business, and your creativity and your love, and you transcend like the fears and the limitations. And so for me it's like a vehicle of expression.
Thank you so much. Just when I listen to you, literally my whole body is like, yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, yes, why haven't we been doing this? Like, why, why haven't we been doing this? And why, let me just stop that. Why haven't we been doing this? Why is, when we're in alignment with our truth and we're in alignment with the energy of life. So I'm so grateful to be alive at a time where we can explore this way of being. And it's, my grandparents worked down the mines, they didn't have the chance to explore these things, and they worked to put bread and butter on the table. And we have the opportunity to work in a way that expresses our true nature and makes a contribution and experience fulfillment. And that's a gift. It really is a gift.
And who are we not to explore it?
Exactly.
Because we have the choice.
And
there is a choice. And I felt called to say that anyone who listens to this, who is in a job that they really don't like but feels trapped in it, and has that thought pattern of, but there's absolutely no way that I could just do this, I would suggest going to one of your, I know that you put on some free webinars, I know that you have some online courses, and actually just go and try and just get in touch with, just say, I don't
just
have the
listen
word to
come
hand,
in come in
just
come into the space and listen, and and just know, I mean, when I was in that situation, if I'd have come along and said, I'd have probably found myself a little bit irritating, if I'm honest, like, it's all right for you, and I would have been like cross and a bit frustrated and all of those things. And I just first of all know that dream within you is your compass. It's not just a dream, it's real. It's what wants to be expressed through you. It's a living, breathing entity and part of you. So just know that, really believe that. That's been my experience of working with thousands of people. It's a living, breathing entity within you that wants to be expressed, right? So know that to be true, first of all. And then, we have every month, I do a Hold Your Heart's Vision. It's on a Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. UK time. And anyone can come and just be in that space to reconnect with your heart's vision and the freshness and the vitality of what's coming through now. And just sit with that and be with that. And the more time and energy and focus you give to that, the more it can emerge. And then there can be, the more time you're spending with your true nature, and then your purpose reveals itself to you. This is like a journey of a lifetime, right? It's not all going to happen in one, I'm going to listen to my heart once and then that's it. It's a constant constant dance with that energy of life. And so come in on a Tuesday and listen to your heart and just be in the space. And you get to be with a community of other people as well who are doing that. And that makes a difference, because then you start to, okay, this is possible. There are hundreds and thousands of people doing this. So why can't I do this?
And they're all at different stages, aren't they? And that's actually something I wanted to touch on. And then let's talk about the money to close this conversation with. But one of the things that I really love about your work, because you do have a retreat option, and then you have online courses and you have trainings. I was thinking before this podcast how people go away from their normal lives to do some intense self-development or growth work of some capacity, and then they come back into life and it can be very difficult to implement what they've learned or what's changed. They might feel different, but their life is predominantly, they're looking at, it's so this integration of like this day-to-day relationship intertwined with the fabric of your day, it feels really, really important. And what I love about the way that you've set your model up is that you have this group. I mean, I've been on one of your courses, but then I have lifetime access to this group with loads of amazing women, because it is predominantly women that you work with, or
it is, but there are men that come in too. It's anybody who wants to create by listening to their heart's wisdom, essentially.
Okay. So, and so you actually get this community for forever, and you can repeat the course that I went on again. And it feels really pragmatic that in my day-to-day life, I still have the access and the teachings and the connection with yourself and the community. And that always felt very, very valuable. Like I wasn't going away and then coming back and like,
absolutely. I was chatting yesterday with an amazing, she's an amazing global change maker, and they, have a tendency to burn out because you have this passion and drive and you have such big vision and purpose and so on. And what she was saying is the value of it is like, okay, so I know my fueling station is the True Business School, or, doing a course with Kat. I know where it is. And I know that if I sense that I'm running on empty, that I can go back in at any time and, fuel up, right? Plug in and have that inspiration. And I mean, I would always invite people to start your day like that. Start your day from a place of connection. So, and the days that I do that, where I actually, before I wake up and I just connect and I do some meditation, or I go for a beautiful walk in nature, or I go for an amazing swim, they're my better days, because I'm already in a place of connection and my decisions are then made from a place of connection. I'm showing up in service from that place. They're always better. If I start the day like, I'm just going to check my emails, or, my investment portfolio or whatever, or, and then, I'll watch that video, then I'm off on some weird tangent and I'm being directed by external factors. So I always invite people to begin the day from a place of connection. But absolutely, the True Business School, and you did the PR with Heart course, which is about creating your visibility from a place of that's natural to you. And you can come back and do that again, because our heart's wisdom is always feeding us. You can always go to the well of inspiration and drink from it. Basically, it's not a one-time thing. So that's really important to me, that we practices and we have a structure in place where we can do that, because life isn't like that, right? You can get caught up in your day, and before you know it, and you've got to pick the kids up from school, and then you know, go to dinner, and you get to the end of the day and you're like, what just happened to me? So right, so that's why I want that, a place, an oasis that people can come and connect to their heart's wisdom, and be in a place where other people are doing that too, and normalize it, and make it a practice. Yeah,
that feels so good and useful and pragmatic, and
yeah.
And thank you, Kat. So I think we should have another conversation another time about going into this aspect of money more, because it's so big and it's such an interesting topic that I'd love to dive into more intricately. But to end, you know, what if you know, you said to me when I asked you what do you feel really passionately about speaking at the moment, you know, if you had a soapbox, what would you be saying? And you mentioned this kind of liberation from the binds of finances, and you mentioned the source, connection with source and abundance. So could you just unpack a little bit where you are with this?
I'm starting to, I've done work on my money story, and you know, and all of those things many times, right? But it just feels, actually the pandemic opened this question for many people, and you know, that perhaps your work is one source of income, and you know, your business is one source of income, and there can be other sources as well. And so for me, what started to happen is I started to have a real connection that the more I connect with source, and which for me is the universal energy that moves through all of us, the more I connect with that and I'm fed by that and guided by that, the more all my needs are met. And we have financial needs. We live in a you know, it's a man-made construct, but it's the way our society functions is with money. And so I started to get this amazing sense of, you know, this financial support and a feeling of this financial support so that I can then be of service. And so, you know, I'm creating that at the moment. I'm opening to that. I'm growing that and building that. And as I have this choice that source is supporting me financially, right? The energy of life is supporting me financially. Things are changing in my business a lot. So another source of income opened up, which can support me right now, but also has amazing long-term potential. And that and having that there, it's like, oh, that sort of freed me up to know that I can be of service and show up, and you know, my financial needs are met, so I don't have to worry about them. What I find is when people are creative and they're creating, the fastest thing to shut down is inspiration. Can be like, oh, shit, I've got to pay the bills. Or yeah, but what about the mortgage? And then before you know it, you've like closed, and then you're closed to that energy, you're closed to the opportunities, and you can't see the, you know, what's being offered to you, or you turn it down because you're in a vibration of fear and doubt and struggle. And so for me, it's really about letting go, like I said, of those binds and the old feelings. I had as I was working on this, two massive beliefs came up for me. One was, for example, that the only way I would receive a big amount of money is if my parents died. And wow, so I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. So I'm going, I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not true. I can receive money other ways, but I'd made that up. Another fear that then came up was around, I had some terrifying, like literally money terror. And so I was making all these safe pockets. I have a safe cash here, safe cash here, safe cash here. And then I had all this cash that was doing nothing just so that I felt safe. And actually the safety came from my biological grandfather took his own life through gambling and being in a very vulnerable, frightened space of debt. So you're like, whoa, I hadn't even clocked that was in my, I hadn't even, you know, because it was nothing to do with me. It's a grandfather who I never met. But, you know, and I was chatting to my mum about some new new developments I'm making with money, and she said, oh, I need to be safe, and I said, yeah, I get it, I understand why you need to be safe, Mum. I need to feel safe with money as well. So I have some money that allows me to feel safe, and I have a money that allows me to be innovative and free and experiment and try things. And so that aspect and that energy that wants to be expressed through me is being open. So I'm really enjoying the depth of transformation that source, the relationship of the divine and money are bringing me. And I'm seeing it in a lot of people as well through the pandemic that had money constrict very quickly because business dried up. So they had new ways of relating to money had to come through and are coming through. And I'm excited by that, because I really feel that it's freeing us up to be more of who we are, and to be our true selves, and stop worrying about the money, and have that financial support so that we can be creative and we can be our true selves. And that's where the true business model is taking us. So yeah, that's the end game, is be free of the money worries, that you can be your true self, creative, and show up.
So even though this massive change of the lockdown has been thrust upon us, it's like that saying, with great change comes opportunity, with great change can come growth. So looking
groove and growth.
Groove and growth.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting today, and also for just that last bit of like your honesty around those things, and just sharing, because I feel like it's a topic that no one wants to really be vulnerable about, because there is this whole taboo about it, like especially if one's running a business or coaching and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I was doing a course the other day about negative thought patterns, and had some people in that profession were sort of coming on to the course, and we're having this big conversation about, there's part of me that feels uncomfortable with the fact that this is what I teach, and yet I'm here seeking it for myself. And I really wanted to dismantle that, like,
oh, absolutely.
Human, and if we don't talk, and if we aren't share our vulnerabilities or express our truth, then you can forget it, because we're not going to be able to truly authentically do the work, inquire, get the liberation, work through it in a way that really serves us, and therefore serves our communities.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do, is be truthful and open and honest, because it invites in that in everybody as well. And that's where the depth and that's, for me, that's the bit that I'm interested in. That's where the real transformation happens, is when we talk about things that we're uncomfortable talking about or sharing about. And money is definitely one. It's as if, if I share, I only make this amount, then people are going to judge me and think this and that. And so what I love about your true business as well is you're your first customer. So what you were saying is, I can't teach this because I'm learning it myself, is absolutely, it's the other way around in your true business. It's it's emerging through you, because you're here to share and contribute that. And so it's a really different way of being. So any new learnings and discoveries is absolutely share that, because that will be of benefit to many. So I took that learning around prosperity straight away into my group, and the openings that it brought in there was just beautiful. And then the creativity is flowing again. Writers that were told they would never make money from writing when they were children, so have never made that their business, are now making that their business, because it's who they are, it's what they came here for, and they realize that's something they made up when they were 8. It's not even their belief system. So yeah, it's like,
yeah. And I would rather learn from someone who's walking their walk, who I can visibly see and hear and feel, and when you say about the compass, and I trust that compass.
Me too.
Especially when I see other people walking it. So thank you for exemplifying that, because it was great to end on that. And I hope we can talk more about that, because it is a juicy conversation.
But if anyone wants to come in and listen to their heart, they can join us in the True Business School. So it's free to come in.
I'll put the links in the description. Yeah.
And it's just true-business-school.com.
I'll put all the links to join in the description. And I'm so glad we heard the cockerel in the background. It wouldn't be a call without hearing that little guy.
I love him.
Thank you so much, Kat. And
there you go.
Bye. Bye. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, Hannah. Lots of love. Thank you.